What's up, Juventus? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to La Vecchia Signora. It is the day after our match against Bologna, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Obviously, top four hopes, yeah, they're hanging on. It's still in our hands, and we've got a ton to discuss. We've got the latest news in the aftermath to this game, but first and foremost, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. If you're tuning into this onto your audio outlets, get over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. All right, and for everybody enjoying the show with us, we thank you for joining. Take a second to like the video, subscribe if you're new here. And I got Mas, of course, with me. Mas, May 5th, buddy. You know what that's all about. We got to take every second to enjoy, in my personal opinion, my absolute favorite Scudetto victory. So happy May the 5th, buddy.
Right back at you, my friend. I mean, it was a draw yesterday, but I mean, it's always something to celebrate when this date rolls around every year, right? People talking about May 4th out there. May the 4th be with you. No, it's all about May 5th for sure.
Took a little heat yesterday because I said I never watched any of the Star Wars. Was never into it. Not my thing. And just never have. But May the 5th, I could get down with May the 5th. All right. I could get down with May the 5th. Look at this beauty right here. Gola ancora. Buffon. Look at the scenes from that. Unbelievable. This was epic. This was epic. All right. What do you have? Like going into the final day, Inter on top of the league. All they needed was a win, and they absolutely collapsed 4-2 to Lazio. Look at old Ronaldo Fenomeno there. Oh, my goodness. And then meanwhile,
Karel Poborski over there with the couple.
Yeah,
with the
Poborski there with the brace. And then, of course, back in Udine there, Trez and Del Piero take care of business, and the rest is history. We triumph. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we're always going to celebrate this day. But again, we also got, like, where do you rank this bad boy? All time, Mas. Where is it?
It's not my favorite black kit, to be honest. It would be up there. The one you wore the other day on one of your updates, the black and gold is my go-to, to be honest.
Yeah, I love this kit. I love this kit from Chico Maggio. Probably the memories make it stand out even more, but it is one of my favorites. Pretty simple, pretty classy. But yeah, I mean, it's not the best black one of all time, but it is up there for me. It is up there.
Just because of the feels, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I did like it too. I didn't mind Lotto, to be honest. For Lotto kits, I didn't mind them. I didn't mind them. Now, we got 8 out of 9 for Ori Madger there. Yeah, if I had to rate that kit, I'd give it a 7.5. Like, simplicity, very, very nice. Very, very nice. We did talk about one thing, the crest on the chest, as the 97-98 home I brought out yesterday has it on the sleeve, and that was something that always kind of bothered me, but not on that kit because it's such a beauty. But the crest got to be on the chest. On the chest. Now, everybody that's with us, you know, we're going to get into this. We're going to get into Bologna and Juve's 1-1 draw. I called a 1-1 draw. I was hoping I was wrong. I was hoping Trim was going to be right with his 2-1 call, or Sev was going to be right with his 3-2 call. No such luck. All right. It ends 1-1 draw. We will go over, obviously, starting lineup for this game. You've got Di Gregorio. You have Kalulu, Savona, and Vega. Then you had Weah, Locatelli, Thuram, Cambiaso with McKennie and Nico Gonzalez behind Kolomuani. Mas, since you weren't with us on the preview show, what did you think about the lineup? The main talking point for us was just McKennie. And, you know, the feeling for a while that he might have to sit one out or play where Weah was playing. But we like some of the other options to start there. In the end, I think he did an okay job, but we'll talk about that. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think overall we were limited just by the amount of injuries we have, right? I mean, there wasn't a lot of options out there. I would have liked to have seen either Mbangula or Conceição, you know, Chico start over McKennie from the beginning. You know, they came in later on in the game and their impacts were pretty minimal, right? But yeah, at this point of the year, McKennie's, we say it every game, right? He looks just beat down, right? He's been used all over the field the entire season, and he did have a good game. Just I think it was very minimal in terms of offensive impact, right? He
Yeah.
put in a strong shift, but you're not going to get a lot out of him from that side of the ball.
No, and that's the thing. It's like it's the limitations, and I said it on the previous show. He feels like he's been a security blanket for everyone that comes in. Like he just ends up, oh, we're hurt here, we're damaged here. It's like, well, Weston's up, Weston's up, Weston's up, and he goes from, you know, we're trying to sell 3 summers in a row to you can't get this guy off the pitch. So does that speak? It speaks in part to him, but it also might speak a lot in terms of the roster and what these coaches feel about the actual players we got. So we'll get into that more on the backside of the game. Talking about the game itself, I loved Juve's start to this game. The opening 22 minutes, I loved us matching Bologna in terms of intensity, whatnot. Bologna probably came out of the gate immediately, and we fought back, we pushed back. And to be honest, from the outset, I thought that Bologna looked a little bit suspect at the back and that we could do some damage from the outset. But great positive 22 minutes for me from Juventus. And we were rewarded in the 9th minute. And man, Kefren Turam. One of the things we spoke about, and Cambiaso was very active early on. So he showed signs that he might be a strong player for us in this game. Very active. He was the one cutting across centrally, feinted a shot, looked like he thought about taking a rip, and it would have been a good spot to take a shot, but he held on. And then he distributes to Turam that had a better look and a clear lane. He rips it with his off foot, with his left foot, and Skorupski made that was a howler there. He's got to stop that as a keeper, but I don't care at all, and I'll take it. Kefren Turam puts us in the lead 1-0. Brilliant start for us. So Cambiaso with the assist, Turam with the goal. Like I said, that was in the 9th minute. 22nd minute, 25th minute, a little bit of a drop-off for Juve. And Bologna was able to kind of push back a little bit. We still had a couple disallowed goals in this time frame, okay, from the 20th and 35th minute. One was Nico Gonzalez that was well off, never in question, I didn't even celebrate it because he looked so far off, even on live watch. Flick on from Kolomuani, he's gone, does well, finishes it, disallowed. 35th minute though, Cambiaso, this was a hell of a play from Cambiaso. Hell of a play. And it sucks and it stings because, I mean, this is it in the end. Oh, man.
It's a toenail.
Yeah, you're just a bit there, and that's painful. That's painful, but that is the rules, and other teams have been stung by it, whether it's a couple toes, whatever it is. Yeah, you still got to keep going. You got to take care of business, right? But that's it in the 54th minute. Let's start with halftime. I was saying at half on the watch along, we need to level off and balance the play. It's too far back. So go into the locker room at half, regroup, collect yourselves, come out with a little bit of energy. I didn't want to see the clampdown, and I was actually frustrated to see it at the start of the second half, Mas. And I know, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? It started more so the end of the first half, right? I mean, I think you nailed it in terms of the first half. One of the trends we've seen with Tudor is the team has been extremely solid to start games, right? We said that the last pod as well. A lot of energy, a lot of forward thinking from the players. One of the things I loved with the goal, I don't know if you saw the celebration, but Turan basically brought all the players over and they got into this little huddle. I don't know what was said in the huddle, but I appreciated what that was, and it showed a bit of a change from the Motta era in terms of like unity and team. I don't know if you want to call it team bonding or whatever, but But yeah, once that goal happened, there was a dramatic sort of drop off, and you saw the switch there from Bologna. And we said it. Listen, Bologna is the best team in the league when playing from behind, right? So once that first goal went in, it's not like I was sitting back and confident that we were going to just coast the rest of the way. I knew Bologna at home was a tough team as well. So listen, they were going to come out the second half flying, and they did just that, right? And our mindset and our strategies
Yeah.
weren't ready to combat that, right, going into the second.
Yeah, and we got comments on that VAR thing, and Gio saying VAR is ruining the sport, etc. I mean, if you look at that, when you break that down, if they're gonna look at things that intensely, just take a look at this and tell me what advantage has he gained. The defender's moving in the opposite direction. He's got no intention of playing or lock. He's literally looking for something like that, and you let them off the hook by like Antonio. I've always said they need to adjust this thing. They need to adjust this thing because there's zero advantage here. This defender's, that's Di Silvestri, whatever. He's literally moving in the opposite direction, looking for the trap thing. And you know what? It's like there's no advantage there. It's silly to me. It's silly to me. It's something they need to look at. They've needed to look at offsides for a while. Nonetheless, that's not at all what we have to blame or anything in this game. We should be pointing the finger at ourselves. We talked about the second half approach and what went down, and I wasn't happy with it. 54th minute, Freuler, and this is annoying. It's very, very annoying, this goal, because, again, avoidable. You had Odgaard running in there, free, open, free, and clear. We did have back post coverage. He was free. It created little bit of an issue there. We didn't win the header at the back post, and it goes back into the mixer, and Freuler does take it on a good touch right back across goal. Kefren Turam couldn't stay in front of him because of that touch, and his shot in the end goes off Vega's leg and into the net. It's extremely frustrating. You've come out flat for the opening 10 minutes there to the second half. You've been in clampdown going back to the first half, finishing off the first half, and now you're trying to switch on. And you're trying to get back and get another goal and whatnot. And for me, it was like, okay, we're probably going to need some fresh legs and just a different, mindset. Like, these guys have been in a different mindset, a different mode. Let's get some fresh legs on. Let's try and go. But in the end, there's really nothing until it's very late and you get missed opportunities by both squads. The big one for Juventus was Alberto Costa, who came in. Kolomuani does great. He's dribbling in there. Look like potentially a PK. I don't think a PK being called there was actually the right call after looking at it on replay. The ball's bounced around. Weston McKennie finds it, does a fantastic job to get it over to Costa, and unfortunately he couldn't dig it out of his feet enough to at least pop it up into that net. Goes along the carpet and it gets cleared. He got absolutely ripped to shreds. He got ripped to shreds for his performance in general. We'll talk about these players, but that's unfortunately where it is. For Bologna, they come back the other way, and this was very, very late in the match from Ferguson, and he gets one that sits up for him at the back post there, and thankfully he goes well high over the frame, and it ends there at once. Costa's opportunity, I actually felt for him, Mas, but you got to find a way to put that in the goal,
It actually looked like he was dribbling with a grenade. Like he was, I don't know what happened there. He just made a meal of it, right? Listen, I'm not going to knock the kid. He's barely had any minutes all season long. I mean, to put him in a game like that, it's a tough situation, right? He had to bury it at the end of the day.
There are moments like this game for me is defined by moments where that precision and that execution was completely missing. You had Cambiasso with a free run in from Nico Gonzalez puts just a little too much heat on it. And Nico trying to stay onside. And in the end, it blows right by Nico. We get absolutely nothing out of a break there. You've got Kolomuani at the back post alone where he could shut it down and clamp this one down, collect it on the side, and maybe take a strike, cut back in, put a dangerous ball across goal. Missed touch. Goes out, we get absolutely nothing out of it. There's a lot of little opportunities like this, so they don't show up on the stat sheet because we didn't even come out with an actual opportunity on goal. But there's way too many sequences where we let teams off the hook. Yeah. And it feels like if it was on the other side, no matter who we play, whether it's Venezia, it doesn't matter if it's a strong team or not, it feels like we get punished when we leave those openings like that, and we just can't do the same to these other sides because Bologna looked suspect every time we actually did get around their final third and went at them. Like, it looked like there was goals to be had, and that's the biggest frustration I have with this particular match, is that I just don't like the fact that we let them off the hook. You get a goal in the 9th minute. I think if you keep the balance better throughout the majority of that game, you probably walk away with more. But this is just the story of the season for Juve. We beat ourselves. We beat ourselves up. And I don't know anymore what the answer to it is. These guys should get through this match. Like, they should have been able to take care of the job here. And, you know, this is the second coach that's come in now, caretaker in Tudor, but some of the same trends are there. So the players are starting to get the line shining on them. But at the same time, it's like, as a coach, if you don't want something to happen there, you're either okay with it or you're pushing to change that. Whether the subs, I don't know. And even the subs really didn't provide a spark in this one. You know? Mas, what are your thoughts?
There was very little impact from the subs for sure. I mean, I don't even think, you know, Douglas had a rating at the end of the day because he barely did anything right. And he left the subs late, which is another problem, right? I mean,
yeah, I thought it was pretty late for the subs. I will agree.
Yeah, we needed some sort of spark earlier, right? But just getting back to Alberto Costa for a second, what have we been preaching all season, right? Experience, the need for experience in the team. My feeling is if you have an experienced player there, one who's been around a while and knows what he's doing, that ball would have been in the back of the net, right? So this offseason, that's going to be, you know, of paramount importance to us to find some guys that actually have been there in the big games, that, you know, they don't lose their head in moments like that, right? Yeah. A young kid like Alberto Costa, it's bound to happen to him just because, you know, he hasn't been there before, right? But
he's bringing the Albertos down with missing that one. Jeez. I had to bring it back up, though, because I went to my game and partial ACL tear or not, knee brace or not, your boy bagged one in a 4-0 victory. So let's go. He's bringing the Albertos down, but I had to do some work and pick it back up. Listen, we're not going to get too crazy on him, but you're absolutely right. It shines a light on experience and guys that just pull you through. Superstars in the team. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. It's not complete, and it wasn't going to be complete. Some of these other guys too that were called in haven't really amounted to anything. Douglas Luiz was one we talked about. You see some in the chat saying, did he even touch the ball? He delivered one good dead ball in that didn't miss Imbangula by much in the area. That was later in the game, obviously, as the substitutions were late. That's about it. That's about it from Douglas Luiz. So if you're going to put out an essay on what you're actually here to do, I'd much rather you not do that on Instagram and just fucking show me on the pitch. Because it's just put up or shut up. All right? That's where we're at. Now, we're going to get into player ratings quickly and fire through that, and then talk about some of these player performances, and then get to the players itself, because why do these trends still continue despite a coaching change? So we will take a look at the roster and everything like that. So here's this. Fix that rule. Here's your ratings in yesterday's game. They listed it as a 3-4-1-2. It didn't really play that way, but it doesn't really matter. Di Gregorio at a 6.6. Not a whole bunch there for him, and we held Bologna. Bologna didn't have not even one real big chance created. That Freuler one was kind of through a maze and whatnot. They had a good couple shots that were blocked. We had a maze in front of them. Ferguson's was probably a good opportunity. Still didn't show up classified as a big chance, but we held them pretty good. Di Gregorio, I think he had to make probably the biggest save was on that Olimpico attempt from Orsolini. I don't think outside of that, he really had to do a whole hell of a lot. Kalulu at a 6.5, Vega at a 6.9, Savona at a 6.7. I was a bit surprised that we chose to play Savona on the left side. I was very surprised by that. I thought we would go with him on the right, because even Malta was playing him constantly on the left, and he doesn't look as comfortable out there on the left side. First half shaky.
He played a good game, though, I think, overall.
I think it was funny because first half he looked a little bit suspect, a little bit shaky. Second half, he looked clean. It looked a lot more polished. It was cleaned up. Vega, I think, went the opposite. First half, solid. And then second half, questionable on the ball. A lot of errors in clearances and touches on the ball, and started to get a little sloppy. So I think the two of them kind of switched there. Mm-hmm. Kalulu was kind of more steady there. I think Kalulu at a 6.5. I think all of them back there probably 6.7, 6.8 for me. You know?
No, that's fair. Yep.
Weah having the absolute lowest, tied there for Nico Gonzalez. Number one, I don't think they should be tied at the lowest. But Weah started off the game. He was making my blood boil. This guy looked nowhere near the urgency that was required.
Yeah.
Brutal passes. A day late, a buck short all over the place. Cleaned it up, but still a pretty down performance from Timothy Weah, from my opinion. An even 6, I'd probably have him. I don't think he went up, but I don't think he went to the negatives. Just a even 6, a rough goal. Locatelli and Thuram at 7.2s. I'm cool with that. Cambiaso at a 6.8. I thought it should be higher. Obviously had to leave the game with injury. Remind everybody, Cambiaso now is getting monitored in another 7 days. He will be out for the Lazio match. And this was one of the first games I thought he looked finally like the Cambiaso we've been waiting for some time now. But these ratings, I think he should be around a 7 as well. What do you think about the ratings across the mid, Mas?
Yeah, I thought Cambiaso was a lot better than a 6.8. To be honest, he's got to be a minimum 7 for me. It was the first game in a long time that he actually looked like he was, starting to come around again to what we had seen, earlier in the season. But yeah, no issues with Thuram and Locatelli there. I might have even put, Thuram slightly higher. It was nice to see. It was a bit of a bounce back game for him, right? We had discussed before with Tudor coming in. He's one of those players that kind of dropped off, with the change from Mota, but it seems like he's starting to round into form again, at an important time of the year. So, I probably would have went up to a 7.4 for Thuram. But
McKennie and Nico Gonzalez. So McKennie finishes with 7.2, Gonzalez with 6.4, Kolomuani with 6.3. I think Colo at 6.3, maybe 6.5. There's not a whole bunch. McKennie at a 7.2. Again, in true McKennie fashion, a lot of it was just work. was
Yep.
just work rate and just, you know what I mean? But to really take it above that, I don't know, like, and even Nico Gonzalez, 6.4, a little bit low. The guy kills himself out there, and I appreciate that. And again, if Cambiaso hits him better on that ball, if Nico even reads that a little bit better, but Nico's trying to keep himself on side as well, that guy probably ends up with one as well, which might have probably sealed it. I couldn't see Bologna scoring 2 on us that game. It's a tough one. I think Nico probably a little bit higher and Wes a little bit lower. They should probably both be maybe 6.7, 6.8s, and Kolomuani would probably be lower than those 3, in my personal opinion. Mas, if you had to choose man of the match for this game from Juve's side, who are you taking? Chat, who are you taking in a man of the match for this one from Juve?
For me, it's between Thuram and Cambiaso. I would probably lean towards Thuram just because he did get the goal. But again, nobody really stood out to be the clear man of the match for me, to be honest. It's
Yeah,
again,
I'd probably,
Thuram,
and
just
I'd
because
say
he
the
got the
same,
goal.
like not clear. Kefren Turam by the numbers, 1 goal, 33 touches, 67% pass accuracy, 1 for 2 successful dribbles, 4 out of 11 duels won, 1 block shot. So like still not a crazy game and some off numbers in there, right? But he is probably the man of the match there. Cambiaso would be competing there for him. He was looking like the Cambiaso we needed. Very active and I mean, look at his position where he is on the lineup sheet and think about where you were seeing him on the pitch yesterday. He was wide out on the right. He was central. He was in the mix of everything that we were generating. And I don't think people realize that earlier on in the season, and this has always been an offense that has struggled with Mota. It's not firing by any means with Igor Tudor, but Cambiaso was massive at the start of the season for how many offensive sequences literally came from his feet. So when that guy's moving, when that guy's active, when he's finding pockets of space, when he's involved, we look a lot better. We look a lot better offensively. And it sucks that he gets injured and now he's going to miss the Lazio match. So thigh injury there. Speaking of, player performances and everything, this match represents 21 points now for Juventus surrendered this season from the lead. The only teams that have given up more points from the lead are Como at 24 and Venezia with 30. This is a staggering number, 21 points. Think about where we're at in the table. Think about the difference. You don't even have to go to half of that number. Okay? It would be smooth sailing. We made a mess of this season. Not being able to get the job done. Clamping down when maybe you shouldn't clamp down because it's too soon. There's way too much football to be played. Maybe just, again, execution, the players' end of things. What is it? What on earth is it? Because this has also had some points tacked on from Tudor now coming on, and it talked about a trend that just doesn't seem to want to stay away. But that is insane. 21 points. Not characteristic of Juventus. So, Mas, what is it? Is it the players? Because they're saying it's the players. Now everybody says the coach has never been the issue. It's the players. How do you feel about that statement?
I'd be on a sideline if I had an answer for that, but I think it's a mix of mindset and experience, right? I mean, there's a lot of young players on this team, again, that haven't been in those situations before, where the moment gets to them, right? And they're not ready for it. And that's where mistakes happen, right? but just mindset. It's been like this all season. Like the Juve of old, man, when they were down, you just had that feeling inside of you, like this game is going to work out. Like you just knew, right? There's no there's no inkling of that happening with this team. Once they go down, your confidence level in them getting back into the game or actually finishing off the game is very low, right? It's just it's like the air gets sucked out of them, right? Like there's
Yeah.
it's hard to explain, honestly. It's
I have, we talk about the Juve of old when you think about clamping down, even if it is 1-0 or whatnot. But there was this thing, and again, I go back to this roster because if we want to talk about rosters, I mean, it has to be consistent. So if you're looking across the board and we're saying that you can't win with this team, like these players are the problem, etc., I'm watching a roster that I don't find impressive whatsoever in Napoli do the exact opposite. Okay, and I am watching them clamp down on 1-0s and getting through, etc., whatnot. Like, I'm not sold that it is just simply all the players. I think the way you approach things, I think what you're trying to do, like, and it's also that mentality too, because it's easier for Conte to fire up those Napoli guys and to get them to do it because they have the freedom of knowing they're coming from a 10th place finish, that they can chase this thing pretty much stress free. You know what I mean? They could chase what they're chasing right now stress free. We have to find a way to ease the stress from these guys' minds because it's clearly there. Igor Tudor spoke to how it is and that it's there in the locker room. He feels it, he sees it, he hears it in the way they're talking, the way they're acting. You have to find a way to sort it out. If we're talking about the Juve of old, these guys could clamp down. But you know what? If it failed, if by some chance somebody broke through and they equalized on us, you still had the star power and the manpower to pick it back up and to strike. And you always had this sense of belief because of the guys that you had around. Right now, with the players we have there, I still don't believe that we can clamp down early. If we're going to clamp down with the guys we have, it's got to be late in a match. I think maintaining the balance for these players will go a long way in trying to ease that stress. Say, hey, I don't care if you scored 2 goals. The match is 0-0 at all times, okay? I don't want you guys letting up. I don't want you guys going guns blazing to the point where you're wide open. I want you to be focused and determined the entire route and don't focus on the score whatsoever. It's 0-0 at all times. Keep that level because this drop off kills us because we go too, it's those extremes. And we saw those extremes with Motta where you're just way too far back in the lead. And you can't play that way and get through no matter who the opposition is. It's frustrating to me, but I don't agree that it's all players. I don't agree that it's just coaching. It's a combination of finding what works for the guys that you have. You know? That's how I feel anyways, Mas.
Yeah, and the other thing to add to that is you look at those older teams, there was leadership in almost every player on the pitch, right? Who's that guy now who's going to step up when we're down, when we're trying to hold a lead? Who's that player that's going to rally, the team and get them excited and get them motivated, right? I don't see any player out there that can do that. And that's a huge problem, right? Especially for these younger players, knowing that they would need to answer to that leader when they go back to the locker room, right? Knowing that they're letting down their team and letting down that leader. There's nobody like that right now, right? And it's just a mishmash of players that were put together in the hopes that it would work. And I don't know, we've talked about this all season, right? There's the heart doesn't seem to be there as much as Tudor wants to preach about it being there. And he's seen a change from the previous regime.
I will say this.
Something's missing, right? Something's missing.
There's a lot in our game that's been corrected, in my personal opinion,
Yeah,
and you could see it play out structurally, organizationally. It is better. It's fundamentally better. The fundamentals were completely lost and broken with Motta. And I would go as far, because people are so strong on the players now. I was very, very, like, I didn't mince my words about this in the watch along yesterday. Motta made a mess of this season. He was a complete disaster, and people were firing at Giuntoli. And I said, look, Giuntoli's got blood on his hands, no doubt, because of following that man all seamlessly through whatever he wanted, and kicking guys out that probably shouldn't have been kicked out, etc. But this blind following of Motta was a disaster. That guy destroyed this season. This team in this Serie A, this roster, it is, and again, it's right there in the numbers in front of us. 21 points from the lead for Juve with this roster. That is an easy finish in top 4 in this Serie A with nobody being convincing. We have nobody to blame, nobody to look at but ourselves. But Thiago Motta made an absolute disaster of this season, and Giuntoli shouldn't have followed him almost blindly in these decisions. Now, here we are, okay? And we've been talking a lot now about the roster, the players, etc. We don't have that guy that you're talking about. That true, like, leader. We're going to, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lead these guys. Like, there is no general on the pitch. There is none. If we're talking about MVP of the season, and it's what, 21-year-old, a 20-year-old Kefren Turam, his age, I can't remember the exact age, 22, 21, he's in that frame. This guy is our MVP this season by a country mile. So yeah. Who's the experienced guys? Who's the leaders? Who's the guys like pulling this team? Bremer would have been one of them if he's around. Would have made a massive difference at the back. But the biggest problem for this team has been the attack from day one this season. Chemistry has been a big time issue up top. Creating chances has been a big time issue up top. And the amount of goals, being able to kill teams, that's been the biggest thing the whole way through. If I ask you this question, if you could handpick where you have your biggest impact player, that guy that's going to put the team on his back, what area of the pitch are you picking? There's only two that could be argued about, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be either striker or midfield, right?
And even there, I'm willing to concede a bit in the middle. Like, I'd say, like, because I think if Bremer's back, it makes a big, big difference. So I'm thinking it's opposite ends. I'm thinking, like, you get that one guy at the back, one guy at the top. But for me, at the top, if you had that killer, that guy that you can bank on, that you could count on, a guy that could have a nose for goal, whatever, I think it's the biggest thing missing from the side. That true out-and-out killer up top.
The reason I say mid is because if you can find a box-to-box, a true talented box-to-box guy, he makes some of your flaws in your striker seem a little less, right? Just because they put them in the right situations, right? And we haven't had a guy like that in a very long time. And to be honest, they're very few and far between in terms of world football, right? I mean, that's why the good ones are locked up for a very long time.
Yeah. I just think if we look at this attack, there's just too much there. I mean, Nico, the decision-making at times is just wild, but, like, he's been one of the better guys. He's been a guy that I can understand why Tudor is banking on right now. Yildiz still has a ways to go. He's good. He's a good player. The effective rate needs to ramp up. None of these guys have chemistry together. Dusan Vlahovic is a head case. I don't even know with this guy anymore. Kolo Muani is streaky. super streaky from game to game in terms of what you're going to get. One game, it looks like he couldn't care at all to get involved in any physicality. And then the next game, he's all over the place. I don't know with this guy. It's hit and miss. Chico Conceição, sometimes there's zero chemistry from this guy. He just wants to try to make something happen all on his own. Sometimes he makes everything happen for us. It's all over the map in the attack, and that's been steady through. It's the biggest area that's hurt us, in my opinion. Even if you're looking at a set of numbers that says 21 points from the lead, that would suggest, the defensive part is the issue. I actually disagree, and I think that the front end has been the biggest problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the final third has been a problem for how long for us, right? It's not just this season. It's been a while, right?
It has
Tudor's
been a while.
come in, and like you said, he's simplified stuff. He's made things better, but I don't know if there's anything he can do to help what's going on there right now, right?
You need those guys that can. We need a killer. We need an absolute killer. Who's that guy? Everybody's going to have their own pick of who's that guy that we should go with, but you need to sort that out. The attack is lacking. Now, Tudor, a big test. He had a test with Roma in his second match in, and now this was another big test. There are many, and I've seen some in the chat already today. Reminder, chat, get those likes up. But I've seen some already saying he is not the guy for Juve. I'm still not even decided. But there are some that say, no, I can already tell, like, he's just not that guy. This is obviously going to be something we're monitoring. So, Mas, are you any closer to making a decision from your point of view? Are you still, at the same place you were 2 matches ago or from the start? Like, where are you at right now with Tudor? What do you like? What do you not like? Let's go that route.
I don't think I'm any further one way or the other at this point. He seems like he's a good motivator. I think he's come in and he's, like I said, he's made things a little easier for the players to understand. But my fear is that he's a little limited tactically. And, will he be able to fix the issues that we have up top, right? It's still a question for me. Will he be the coach next season? He may have to be the coach just based on the options that are available to us, right? If it's, every day that goes by, it's either Conte's coming or Conte's sworn to Napoli kind of thing, right? It juggles. So right now it's looking like it's either going to be Tudor or it's going to be Conte. But again, you don't know what's going to happen in the summer. You don't know who's going to become available. So for me, it's early to say. I gotta see the next few games and how it plays out.
Yeah.
To really make a decision on whether he should stay or not.
Yeah. Right now, like I said, it's I'm the same. I haven't wavered. I'm right where I'm at. Juve needs an elite, top tier coach right now. If there's not one available to us, Tudor could be the best option for us. I see some things in Tudor that it's kind of an issue for me. But I don't know, like, why is this continuing now through multiple coaches? Where did Tudor set them up to clamp down like immediately right after this thing? Is that what he wanted? And why can't he get them to change if this is going to be the guy? Because saying that, well, let's keep Tudor around because we're going to change a roster for him and whatnot, I don't see another massive turnover like you had in the past summer where there was like 16 players that were changed on a roster. Like, that's unheard of. That's pretty high. I don't see that happening now. So,
well, yeah, I don't think we need it.
I don't think we need it either.
The roster, as it's built, isn't horrible, right?
I agree
that there's still players there, right? I think it's a bit of a patchwork job where you need to plug some needs. Who knows? Maybe year two, Coop actually becomes a player again. Douglas Luiz, I don't know what's going to happen with him based on his comments last week. But I think overall, there's building blocks there, and you're just going to need to plug some holes, right? And like you said, strikers probably, based on what happens with Vlahovic and him leaving, you're probably going to need to plug a striker in there at some point, right? So,
yeah. It's going to be interesting. He's given the guys a day off today, and then they're going to prepare for Lazio. Mas and I were already talking. I'm not happy with the time of the Lazio match. My goodness, all right? My daughter's soccer session literally at the same time. Might miss a big watch along there because, that's a huge game now. We're talking about top four here. 63 points, okay? Level with Roma, level with Lazio, 1 point clear of Bologna. Man. So, this was my thought going into this game, okay? If we win, I think we're good. If we pulled off the 3 points against Bologna, I think we're good. If we drew, I was like, I'm unsure. If we lose, I think we're done. I don't think we're going to make it back for that top four. The same thing now in a draw has transferred over to the Lazio game. If you win against Lazio there, I actually think we're okay. You're going to finish up with Udinese, Venezia. If we draw and lose against Lazio, I actually think that could be it for top four. Obviously, if it's a draw, depends on some of the other fixtures out there. But what do you think about that? Win or done? Still a shot?
You look at the table, man. I don't remember there being this tight a race for, the final fourth spot, like in a very, very long time. And the problem is there's a lot of teams that are playing really well right now, right? There's not a lot of struggling out there. So it's going to be tough. I would love to say that we're going to do it, but based on the way the season's gone and what we continuously see on the pitch,
Milan and Bologna.
Who knows?
Milan and Bologna play on May 9th. That's the Friday. We will obviously take on Lazio on the Saturday. You're going to have, where is it? Roma and Atalanta on the Monday, which is a big one. Okay. Based on Atalanta and their victory this past weekend, putting them at 68 points, 5 points ahead of the traffic jam there, you need Atalanta to defeat Roma. Basically. You need Atalanta to defeat Roma. We got to take care of business, and Milan needs to defeat Bologna. Our fate is still in our own hands. If we just take care of business with Lazio, whatever, the rest can go down to the wire. Should is a terrible word. I hate that word. Yep. This season has made me hate it, but Udinese and Venezia wrap up. We should be good in theory, but getting some help from those would go a long way, Let's put on a scale of 1 to 10. I want to know where everybody's at. And actually, not even a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to flat out put everybody on the spot, everybody in the chat. Mas, you're going on the spot too. Will Juve make top four? As of today, where's your confidence level at? We're going to see what the chat's at as the poll's out there. Yes, no answer. And Mas, I'm going to put you on the spot first. Yes or no? Are we in?
Yeah, no, I think they'll be in. There's a lot of, variables up in the air, like I said, but I can't envision a top four without them in it. Just based on our schedule and, what we have left. So I'm going to say in.
There you go. I love this one too from Gio mentioning that my daughter's got soccer same time as the Lazio match. She goes, how did you break the news to her? Love that. I am going to say yes. I think we'll get in there. I think we will get in there. I had more, and this is the thing, I had actually more concerns about Bologna than I did Lazio before yesterday's game. I thought Bologna would be tougher for us than Lazio. Lazio's still going to be tough. I'm not discrediting them. But I actually feel okay. But should I be? Because we came out with the key stat in yesterday's pregame talking about the follow-up and that we haven't defeated Lazio since 2017 in Rome, and that was a Coppa Italia final. Maybe I should be a little more concerned. But for some reason, I'm not. We're overdue. Yeah. Now, 72% in the chat, yes. So the confidence level, still strong with everybody. We're going to shut that poll down. I want to ask you, since we know about the news that Cambiaso will be reevaluated in 7 days, so he's out for the Lazio match. Colt Miners, nobody has any clue what the hell is going on with his Achilles. How do you line us up going against Lazio? What do you want to see now, knowing that Cambiaso won't be there? Gatti, there are loose rumors. They seem like hopes that he might be able to suit up, but do you play him anyways? Because Gatti, the rumors are that he's trying to become available for that match, but that doesn't sound very promising either. So how do you want to see us line up, chat? How do you want to see Juve line up against Lazio?
I mean, the back three yesterday weren't horrible, right? I mean, we did clamp down second half, but we didn't give Bologna much, right?
Yeah.
So I would stick with that threesome versus putting Gatti in there at 50%, right? That would just be me. Ultimately, I think McKennie's just going to replace Cambiaso because that's just what we've seen all season long. But I'd be open to putting Nico on the wing and then having Chico come in to replace him up top. Otherwise, what else can you do, right? I mean, we had, I think, 5 or 6 outfield players on the bench yesterday. Like, who's left? It's basically the next man up, right?
Yeah. Adzic made a brief little showing in that game yesterday. I might actually start the guy against Lazio, to be honest. Start him, start Nico, start him behind Colomuani. Weah on one side, McKennie on the other, across to wrap up the outsides. Back three exactly as we played, and Locatelli and Thuram aren't going anywhere. That's what I would do. One of my first substitutions would probably be Mbangula.
Yep.
You know?
Adzic is tricky, though, because...
grip it and rip it at some point.
We speak the experience, right? I mean... The guy's barely played, right? And now you want to put him in a deciding game?
He should have been playing, though.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you.
When nobody's... Yeah. And this is one of the things, too, when we talk about, like Juve, Del Piero said it best. I mean, at Juve, you always have to grow. You always have to improve. But you're never safe. He said those words that, like, just stay... Like, you should never feel safe at Juve. So I totally understand the experience side of things with Adzic, but to be honest, if you're not delivering, you shouldn't keep just being force fed out there to the lineup. And the reason, because this is a good question, why would I go for Adzic over Mbangula? Because the nature of Tudor's setup plays more naturally to Adzic than it does Mbangula. Mbangula is more of a winger in my mind in how he plays. Adzic is more of your central space type player. And that's why I would lean to start him and give him the go. And honestly, yesterday, he was drifting wherever he needed to be that support piece, but he showed chops. He's good. He's very good on the ball. He's a good technical player. I would not have any fear in playing him. Somebody mentioned, Matt, also good free kick taker. Fuck, put him in there. Let's get some threats going there. Maybe, just maybe, this guy can put in a decent cross on a corner kick, because I haven't seen one since God knows when. can we talk about how pathetic that was yesterday? Every corner? This season in general? My God, maybe Adzic, even just for corner kicks, I would allow him to start. Because that's been disgusting to watch, if we're being honest. Like, when it comes to the corner kick. So, that is my theory in my mind of why I have no issues in going with Adzic. But as far as the lineup, yeah, probably Way on one side, McKinney on the other, and that's probably the only change I would make, and I'd go with the rest. Let's see. Luis set pieces are very good. They are. He just has to actually do the rest of the stuff in the game.
The funny thing is, if this is a different country, Adzic would be in there 100%, right? This is obviously a bigger conversation in terms of how, Italy treats youth players and not having trust in them and stuff like that. But if you're in Spain, if you're in England, the guy's playing regardless, right? If he shows any flashes of talent. So.
You think it's an Italian league thing?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like coaches are afraid to put trust in younger players, right, in this league, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's he should have, and I mean, like, he should have had minutes previously, because
you were force feeding other players into that role, right? You've been force feeding players into that role all season when you had one ready made, just sitting there on the bench, right?
Yeah, and age, like this age discussion has come up a bit too in our members chat as well, and it's always like, who cares about the age? Because Eric in our army chat actually made a great point that he's like, I hate the argument of age. Well, this guy gets more leash because he's younger than a guy that's older, whatnot, when really in the reality of it shouldn't matter. You're all there to do a job, to perform your job, whether you're young, whether you're old, but it is this thing that as a fan, like you give a guy more leash, like if he's younger, and you expect higher of guys with more experience, etc., whatnot, so they get away with far less and whatnot. But in the reality, in the grand scheme of things, age shouldn't matter. It's what you're doing and what you're providing to the club, right? So it's an interesting thing, because just like we get caught in it as fans, I'm sure coaches do too. And I'm sure coaches treat it exactly as you just mentioned, where they're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the guys maybe with some more games under his belt, etc. Right or wrong, Yeah,
and it's a bit of a catch-22, right? Because you want these guys to develop and turn into players, but you're never giving them the opportunity to do that, right? In these big moments. Like, how are they going to become that player without being put into those situations, right? Like, this would be a perfect opportunity for Adzic to come in and show what he's made of, right? Yeah. But
I think this discussion perfectly sums up what I've been saying about the rosters, that I don't necessarily feel like all the guys on the roster are just junk. I just feel like there's a lack of balance. You've got to have your experienced guys. We talked about the experienced guys earlier, and now you have young guys that they should be coming in, but they should be coming in to an environment that's better to settle in. And if you don't have the experience around them and you're throwing them in there, it could be asking them too much.
For sure.
Because they don't have that. So for me, we just don't have the balance, and you needed to balance it out. We just really, really made a massive error in moving on from some big spine players and failing on the contingency planning. And now it's just kind of at this moment where we need to slowly and gradually build up. But the challenge now is locking into the spine. So everybody's spine around Juve right now is a little bit different, because it's going to incorporate young guys that will be this core, these pillars, but it doesn't involve much experience. And that's what we have to realize. So getting that balance, yeah, we're going to have to ride this out. It's going to be a slow build, and we see what happens. But the roster definitely has work to do, but I don't feel it's to the degree where everybody's now saying coach has never been and is not a problem. The truth is everybody's got to pull their weight around this club right now. And we'll see. Tudor, though, very much up in the air. Let's get to Storm the Barn here. And let's see what we got in here. Kenny coming in. We could only afford one draw in our last 4 games. Now it's only 3 wins out of 3 that matter to secure Champions League. Going through the games and everything like that, it could change like that depending on some of those other results. So it's not necessarily you've got to win 3, but let's be honest, Udinese and Venezia have to be wins. And the Lazio one, you can maybe get away with a draw depending on other results. But 2 out of 3 absolutely have to be wins. 2 out of 3 have to be wins, no question. 3 out of 3, maybe, depending on some other results. Let's see. Thoughts on top 4 mayhem unfolding next weekend? Well, we talked about it. We still think we're going to be okay and we're going to get in. Fingers crossed. What goes through tomorrow night between Barca and Inter? Well, football will be saved, is what I'm going to say. Football will be saved. Lamine Yamal. Let's go, buddy. Time to cook it up again. I actually do think Barca will eliminate them, though.
Well, obviously, my hope is that Barca comes through. It's just, I hate to say it, but Inter's got something this year.
Hey, you know what they got? A big fat one of these is what they got. They were talking treble a week ago. Oh, my God. Please end up with nothing. Football gods, please. Let them end up with sweet fuck all. I would love it. Which Juve player would you least likely use in rush for FC 25? Pinsolio.
I was doing a Locatelli SBC.
Oh, yeah?
And it was painful. It was, using him in rush was just...
Who would I least use
but
in
that's not,
rush?
Yeah, that wouldn't be my least likely. I don't know. Probably Gatti.
The Savona card. That's the least one I would use. 100%.
What is he, a 67 bronze, I think? Yeah.
Easy pick there.
Yeah.
Who's going to be our coach next season, in your opinion? I actually do think it's going to be Tudor.
Well, like I said, it's right as it stands right now. It's either Tudor or it's Conte, right? So there's no other option out there that's high on the list, right? So
yeah, if Conte becomes available, I do believe it would happen, but I'm questioning whether or not it's going to happen. Napoli, like, De Laurentiis is an idiot. I can't stand the guy. But could he be so stupid to not commit to this guy? Like, in my opinion, if I look at their roster, this is probably Conte's biggest feat as a coach. I think this is his biggest feat as a coach.
Well, considering he lost his best player at Christmas, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering
with no replacement,
the players he has at the back line.
Yeah.
Considering the roster, considering the Inter squad that he's going against, that's well-rounded, that has way more depth, like, this is his best feat, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could De Laurentiis be so stupid to not commit to this guy in the summer? But will it even matter? Because the word on the street is that it's already decided and that Conte's leaving. But I don't believe it. But, those birdies be chirping.
Yeah. if he leaves, I don't think it's going to be because of ADL. To be honest, I think it's going to be Conte wanting to come back.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think he learned his lesson from Spalletti.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to make that mistake again.
yeah. What do you think was said in that huddle at the goal celebration, and how did it translate into the game? I don't know. It was interesting. It was like kind of out of nowhere and everything. So I don't really know. I don't really know.
Well, based on how they reacted, it must have been all right, guys. Let's just put it in park now and coast the rest of the way.
Yeah, guys, we got this.
Guys, we got this. We're good.
Only 71 minutes to go.
50%.
Only 71 minutes to go. We got this. I honestly couldn't tell you. Yeah, not a customary thing. So it was. I don't know. No idea. But how it translated, probably not the way it was intended. What's the biggest regret of the season? It could be whatever. Purchase made in the summer, coaching decisions made, or not giving a player game time. The biggest mistake, obviously in hindsight, was Thiago Motta, which went completely wrong. I think it was a mistake also just because of the goodbyes we said and the effect on the locker room that I'm pretty sure it had, that I'm pretty sure we've seen enough evidence in. Those two things combined, but Motta 100%. 100%
well,
for me.
The Motta hiring and the fact that you kept him around for so long, right? Which cost us continual games.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe not cutting the cord sooner. Maybe should have cut the cord sooner. It's pretty.
And then another one that could be linked back to Motta is continuously trotting coop miners out there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
this sucks because, my God, Paolo's right. So many to choose from. Like, geez,
yeah, no,
that's painful.
He's not wrong. Yeah.
That's painful. That's painful.
But on the coop miners thing, I mean, mentally, it clearly affected him that he was being put out there every game and just not delivering, right? And it just piled on and piled on and piled on.
And that, for me, that's why it falls back on Motta.
For sure.
And that guy was just trash for us because even Kefren Turam was benched for like 4 or 5 games straight, not starting games. And we were like, what the hell are you doing? And vice versa. 21 points given up from the lead. There were games where Turam needed to stay out there on the fucking pitch and he was getting taken out while we were like in tight games, hanging on to leads and whatnot. And we're like, why would you take this guy out right now? Yeah. He's breaking everything up. He's physical in there. And it was crazy. So it all comes down to him, and he still drives me nuts and gets one of those, okay? Who's your favorite player on this current Juve team?
I might say Renato Vega. I'm not going to lie to you.
Vega?
I might. I don't know. It's got to be between him and Turam. It's going to be between him and Turam.
I've got Cambiaso hurt me, man, because at the start of the year he was in there for me. It's Locatelli and Thuram right now for me are my 2 favorites. Locatelli and Thuram.
Thuram is the easy choice, right? I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, Loca and Thuram.
All year.
I've died on a hill for Loca. He's had a strong season, and I'm happy. Mitch, did you notice on Cambiaso's goal, only his toenail was offside? Oh, yeah. We pulled up the image. I mean, we could take a look at it again. Just an absolute joke here. But, yeah. That's painful. That is football 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
What kills me about that, right? As a fan, like, you might as well not even cheer goals on anymore. Like, it's just sucked the spontaneity and the ability to, like, revel in a goal.
The
right?
Gonzalez one, I didn't even sell it because we were on the watch. I was like, oh man, he's a mile off. I'm doubted. The Cambiasso one too, I was like, oh, this is getting checked. Like, I was like, oh my God, hell of a finish. But yeah, I didn't react because I was like, man, this looks
Every goal, man. Like, it's
well off. They're definitely going to look at it. And you just kind of have to like sit there and wait it out. But man, that sucked. When is the gambling god Jurassic Skanga coming back on the show? Well, we told you, what was it last time? Last week he was arrested for indecent exposure, forgot to put his pants on at his old age and walking around the park feeding pigeons, thinking that they were, lovely birds and whatnot. So, we have since lost him yet again. We might have to put the missing posters out for Jurassic Skanga there. Old Scangavino. We don't know where the heck this guy is. I'm sure he'll make his ways about here. But we're pretty fortunate here to have a fantastic team. Great group of people. I'm pumped for the team we have. Mas, obviously becoming a member this season. Happy to have you on as well as everybody else. But we're pretty. I'm pretty fortunate here. Great group, Juventini, and we're bonded together in the pain and waiting for those glory days to return and get back there. And it's anybody's guess when they're coming, but they will come back, and we'll see. Juve's got a lot of corrections to be made. I've been adamant about a new management team. Chiellini will be stepping in. By the way, did you see Chiellini sitting in the stands yesterday? He looked like the most uncomfortable man on planet
100%.
I was like...
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, he looks so out of place there.
I was like, how can you sit like that, man? It was unbelievable. Like, I'm like, this guy looks so uncomfortable right now. I'm like, man, just go walk around pitch level or whatever, like, rather than sit up there with the dude snoring next to you. You got friggin' Ferraro there snoring next to you. Just beat it.
Jeez.
Him getting into the managerial role is great, but that's only one step. I do firmly believe Juve needs to restructure the upper management team. For Giuntoli, should he remain? That's my storm the barn that nobody has asked, but this is a hot topic because, like I said, that's how we got on the topic of what was the biggest mistake this season, in which my response is Motta. But is Giuntoli safe? Should he be safe, in your opinion?
I'm on the fence with this one because a part of me is like, listen, he targeted players that were coming off multiple strong seasons, and they've just imploded, right? So is it on him? I don't know. But on the other hand, this is also a guy that went into the season weak in key areas that weren't addressed, right? And allowed a lot of key players that brought leadership to the team to just walk for nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm with you. I think you said it before. I would give him another season with possibly a new coach if Tudor doesn't work out. Again, the structure of the team's there. I think it's just plugging in the holes right now, right? So I would give him one more, and then after that, if it doesn't work out, then hit the brakes. Yeah.
And you've got Matt flat out, nope. For me, I want him gone. You got Ori saying should be safe. He is just this moment's scapegoat. I think he's definitely... There was a point there. He should have stood ground and said, you know what, Motta, you got to deal with this. We're not saying goodbye to this guy. Makes no sense. What's that going to do? Like, you have to think too. You can't just follow this guy's lead. So that was my issue with the whole thing. You had a better CV and a better resume coach that you drew a line in the sand with, but then you give in everything to this mutt because of one season at Bologna? Fuck, that's the part that kills me. Management need to stand their ground, and that's why I said if it doesn't work out with Motta, they're all dead to me, especially upper management, because they didn't have any spine about it, and that shows me everything I need to know, and that I was right, that they have no idea about the game of football or what the fuck to do with constructing a team. Giuntoli is not a part of that, but like the upper guys, they all should have been like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Letting Fagioli go for beans? Literally? Like, letting Fagioli go for beans, pushing your captain aside, no matter what he can do on the pitch as far as minutes go, is still going to be nasty for the locker room. Rugani, we have no financial gain. We sacrifice depth at center back. 4 games into the season, you lose Bremer. Fuck, like you created your own nightmare, you guys. So Giuntoli's got blood on his hands, but I still like the signings he made, and he was signing guys in form on multiple seasons, good pickups, some good deals in there on Di Gregorio, Thuram, Cabal that everybody forgets about. It's like he still did a lot of good things. And I say one more coach, one more summer, let's see. And that's going to probably be it for him. Give him one more. Okay? Who's going to be in Philly this summer? Well, you're looking at 2 of them. You're going to be in Philly. Yeah, we'll be there in Philly. Jurassic Skanga will be there in Philly. Sweet Lucifer. Louis is going to be there in Philly. I think Joe Cappuccino is going to be there in Philly. Trim will be there in Philly. We're going to have a ton of the AJC out there. Sev will be out there in Philly. We got a ton of us going to be out there in Philly. I'll be at DC too. I'll be in DC as well. So yeah, it's going to be good times. I got to really get on that. I just started looking into the plans. We got to hammer down. Otherwise, I'm staying literally at the stadium, just outside there. So let's see.
I keep asking. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh yeah, today should be hashed out, narrowing things down. Alberto is a far better sporting director than Giuntoli. Well, thank you, Swarit's endless belief in me is amazing. All right.
Have you seen his ultimate team, guys? It's ridiculous.
My ultimate team? Oh, it's quite fun. Quite fun to play with. Thoughts about Mancini sitting in the stands yesterday? I don't know. I still felt bad for Chiellini looking so uncomfortable, but Mancini being there, I don't know. What's he doing? Isn't he repping Sampdoria now? It's one of their directors.
I did hear them say that something with Sampdoria, so he's got to be doing something for them, yeah.
Top 3 free transfers in the summer. Well, we got the free list is Trent Alexander-Arnold. It sounds like Real Madrid. There you go. Jonathan David. I still think we should probably make that signing and maybe look for a vet presence in there. One that isn't Eric Milik. Leroy Sané, 29 years old, free agent. Jonathan Tah, free agent. Anguissa, 29 years old, free agent. Kevin De Bruyne, 33. Bring him in. Boscagli, Angel Gomez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Lionel Messi on a free. Whew. At 37. Thomas Partey. Yeah. Pasalic. Marco Verratti, 32 years old. Cristiano Ronaldo, 40. Run it back.
Jeez.
I'll tell you right now. I still think Marco Verratti can ball out, man. And I've always wanted him at Juve. I love Marco Verratti. God damn.
Well, that would be a Juve thing to do, right? Bring a guy in that we were linked to a long, long time ago when he's past his prime. Why not?
Man.
Let's do it.
Get Verratti. Get Jonathan David. Verratti. 3 free agents. Verratti, Jonathan David, and then man.
I think you got to be realistic too, right? I mean, some of those names would never come here anyway.
Yeah, actually, those are the two I would take. I don't want Jonathan Tah. Anguissa, I wouldn't mind, but if you're bringing in Ferrati, I'd be so happy with that. But,
I like Ta, to
man,
be honest. For me, it would be Ta, it would be Anguissa. Um, I mean, if I'm trying to be realistic, I don't know if I'm putting David in that list just because I don't think there's a chance that we're getting him. But
no. Verratti, the thing with him is the injuries. Injuries caught up to him, and he just couldn't stay fit and whatnot. So J Medical would just be whatever. De Bruyne, though, at 33, 2-year deal.
yeah, again, that would probably be number one on my list. But realistically, just based on salary alone, I don't think it's a realistic option.
He's going to MLS, probably.
Would not
David's
surprise me.
Jonathan David with the salary. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out, everybody. There'll be some options there. I'm still a free agent as well, so sooner or later, I think they'll come calling. I just keep potting the goals, and
Listen,
whatever. I mean, if they can keep Milik around, I mean, I don't think my knee brace would be a problem, would it?
you keep proving them wrong on one leg, you might find yourself a backup striker role, perhaps.
I tell you what, man, you put me in that spot for Alberto Costa, and this Alberto's putting that thing home, and we're taking the 3 points, and then you guys are all chanting for Alberto there. And then, it just takes me a lot longer to recover, and then I will still need a bed in J Medical because, I don't recover so quickly anymore. But, you guys, speaking of recovery, we're going to have eyes on the injury roundup throughout the week as we get closer to that Saturday match against Lazio, which, like we said, we could find ourselves in a situation where it's got to be a perfect 3 games to round out the season. This one for me, frustrations in the approach and how we went about a perfect start to that game, and a Bologna that looked very suspect at the back. Again, 21 points surrendered from the lead. Some ugly trends followed this Juventus side. We have to break them down the stretch. Lazio's the first one up in Rome, where we haven't come up with a victory since 2017. You know what I say? We're due, baby. We're due. And Saturday, hopefully we walk in there and give them one of these. But that wraps up today's show. I will keep you in the loop on all the news in the build-up to that match throughout the week. Reminder, everybody, you guys are amazing. As always, the Army. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Mas, absolute pleasure as always, my friend. All right, you guys, it's Monday. Wasn't a victory show like we all wanted, but let's see. Hopefully we can back it up with 3 straight victory shows. Okay, let's see. And later on today, the announcement goes out for our next kit giveaway. It is 2 kits. It's this year's home kit, and it's the 2015-16 pink away kit. All right, so a double kit giveaway that both come with Display Pro displays that you see behind me. All right, so that'll get announced later today. Guys, hope you enjoy your week. Have a great, fantastic week. Fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Thanks, guys.